So, Dashas. If we look at this last page of the handout. So we all understand somewhat how these are being computed. No longer is it some just computer that magically makes them appear. These are actually cycles that have certain time spans. And some dashas are bigger than other dashas, right? And the sub-dashas in the different dashas have different lengths. This is a very important thing to understand.
But there's like a complex reasoning behind what determines that length.
Complex.
Okay.
Yeah. For our moment, the understanding should be how long they are.
Okay.
And to really be aware of the different shapes. That Saturn is a very long dasha. The Sun is 6 short years. Venus is 20 long years. Could be 20 beautiful years if Venus is well placed. Could be 20 suffering years if Venus is cursed. So in the Venus Dasha, the Venus-Venus Dasha is also going to be a long sub-dasha. But the Venus-Sun Dasha is going to be smaller sub-dasha. In the Sun Dasha, the Sun-Sun Dasha is very short, only 3 months or something. But the Sun-Venus Dasha, that's almost a year. This is something we have to understand. And we have to really have that, as we're looking at the dashas, we have to be very aware of the time spans and how much and how long. And when the sun is done, that moon is going to come. And when the moon is done, Mars is going to come. This should be second knowledge. So the homework is to finish calculating your chart and to do at least 2 other charts. And you have a computer to check to see if you're doing it right or not. But you should be able to calculate this and really watch how it's working. And be able to know how to do it. Do at least 2 other charts after you finish yours. So now this last page here, on this first handout, lists the other Udu Dashas. Because we're going to learn Vimshottari, we should learn a little bit of the others. And most of them are named after how long they are. Vimshottari is 120 years long. Now, the governor of Vimshottari is the moon. It shows our general emotional reality. And it has universal applicability. Applies to every person. Because everybody has feelings. Now, if we look at the Ashtotari Dasha. Ashtotari means 108. It's a 108-year Dasha. The governor of that is Ketu. So this Dasha becomes important with people who are working with foreign things, who are working with trade in foreign countries, who are working with importing foreign ideas or products. Ketu-related things. But this Dasha only works in the chart if you look at the conditions for applicability, Rahu should be in a quadrant or trine to the Lagna Lord, without being in the Lagna itself. And birth in Shukla Paksha, that's the waxing moon, in the night, or Krishna Paksha, in the day. Very specific calculation happening there. If this is happening in the chart, if it fits this suitability, and the person is working with imports, exports, or something of the nature of Ketu, then this Dasha will become very important to predict relative to that area. Vimshottari will be too generalized to give the detail that person needs. If we look at the next one, Shodashottari, it's 116 years. It's connected to Rahu. And the conditions of applicability are birth in Krishna Paksha, the waning moon, with the Lagna in the moon's Hora. Or the waxing moon, Shukla Paksha, with the Lagna in the sun's Hora. Everybody remember Sun Hora and Moon Hora? You remember Sun Hora and Moon Hora?
Is that the hour or is that the D2 chart?
That's the D2 chart. Okay. So it's talking about the Lagna. So basically on even signs, Moon Hora is the beginning. On even signs, Sun Hora is the first half.
You mean odd?
So, yeah. Odd signs. So odd signs start, the first half is sun hor, the second half is moon hor. Even signs, the first half is moon hor, the second half is sun hor. So this is looking at the hora chart, looking at horas, looking at Rahu. So this is dealing with business, this is dealing with money, this is dealing with things of that nature.
So you
Very
can make-
important for a business person, this dasha. So in this way, this is how this dasha is used. Let's look at the last one. It's called Shashti Hayana Dasha. This one is used if the sun is in the ascendant. Sun in Lagna. That's the condition. If the sun is in Lagna, then you use this dasha. Somebody who had this was Vivekananda. In general, sun in Lagna makes a person a great leader. Makes him start something new, start an organization, or start a spiritual lineage. So for somebody, lots of people have sun in Lagna. How many people are actually starting spiritual lineages or starting organizations? So the first condition is that the person has that happening in their chart. The second condition is that they have a special condition in their life relative to that sun in the ascendant. And then, so for example, Vivekananda's starting of the Vedanta Society, we would time that whole reality and things happening in that and the beginning of it, we would time that with this Shashti Hayana Dasha. Okay? So these are special dashas used to give us more detail.
Could you say something about the Vimshottari? I have that one.
That one's connected to Venus. And that one is, you sure you have this one?
Yeah,
When the Rashi Lagna is in the sign which contains the Venus in the Navamsha. So where's Venus in your Navamsha?
It's it's in Taurus, and
In Taurus.
It's a Libra rising. It's a Libra.
Yeah, but so your Lagna, so you're in the Navamsha, Venus is in
Taurus.
Taurus. So is
No,
your
no, no,
Lagna
no,
Taurus?
Sorry, it's in Capricorn.
It's in Capricorn. Is your Lagna Capricorn?
I thought it had to be the Lagna, had to be ruled by Venus.
There's different ways to interpret it.
Okay.
The way that I interpret it is that you take the Amsha of Venus and you take it back into the chart. If the Amsha of Venus is falling in the Lagna, then this Dasha applies. And this is primarily used with artists.
Okay.
People who are very artistic, people who are very creative in those kind of endeavors. You look at the governor, and the attributes connected to the governor are to be used. So you'll see often, if you are on any of the lists, they're throwing out all kinds of special dashas, and these are the special dashas that they're referring to generally. And these are the reasons to use them. But we're still using Vimshottari to time the mundane stuff in these people's lives. You have some astrologers that will totally throw away Vimshottari and only use the special dasha. Sometimes if that special event in the person's life takes over their life and that's all that matters in their life, then maybe you can do that. But from my experience and my teaching, never throw away Vimshottari totally. Vimshottari is always going to show the general effects. Even Ramana Maharshi, they say in Moon Dasha, where's his moon placed? With Ketu in the 9th house. When he attained samadhi, he basically sat around and just meditated. He didn't speak for almost 10 years.
Ramana?
Just Ramana, yeah. He just, he'd sit there in samadhi. He wouldn't talk. He wasn't trying to not talk. He just didn't talk. For his whole moon dasha, he didn't talk. And then all of a sudden when he entered Mars, a rishi named Ganapati Muni, who was a famous poet and famous scholar, came, and he had met Ramana, saw Ramana, and he went off and he was famous like one of these big shots, and he realized that no matter how big shot he was, that guy was getting it and he didn't get it. He realized that, and so he went and he just bowed down at Ramana's feet and he said, "I don't get it." He said, what is tapas? I'm trying to do all this tapas, but what is tapas? And Ramana started teaching at that point. He said tapas is to follow back the root of, like if you're doing a mantra, who's doing the mantra? Where's the mantra coming from? To follow that back to the source, that's tapas. So Ramana started teaching when he entered Mars. So even these great rishis, if Vimshottari is still working in their charts, then we can't...
Did you say that's a Shakti path?
Huh?
Did you say it's a Shakti path?
What?
Following the energy back?
That's just a Vedanta. That's the general path of, seeing where everything's coming from. Where is, that's a whole nother... Okay.
Wow.
Now if we look on the other side, and Mary's not here, I wanted to stress this one to Mary right here. You show this and you explain this to her. How often do you see Mary?
Seems like every couple weeks or every month.
Okay. So if we look at the top of this chart, you see 120, that's Vimshottari Dasha. You see 108, that's Ashtotari Dasha. So that's the Dasha at the top. At the end you see 60, that's Shashtihayana Dasha. And then down the side you see all the nakshatras. Okay? If in Vimshottari Dasha, Ketu is the lord of Ashwini. Barney is lorded by Venus in Vimshottari Dasha. But if you look at Ashtotari Dasha, Ashwini is ruled by Rahu. Barney is ruled by Rahu. Kritika is ruled by Venus. So in each, if you look at the Shashtihayana Dasha, Ashwini is ruled by Jupiter. Barney is ruled by Jupiter. Okay? So if you notice when we did the nakshatras last week, we focused primarily on the deities. And when Mary was doing her research, she wanted to focus on the planets because so many modern authors focus on taking the planet to interpret what the nakshatra means. And I said, don't take the Vimshottari Lord to interpret it. Because it's not the Lord all the time. Do you see how the Lord changes? So in this way, we don't put too much emphasis on the Lord of the nakshatra for interpreting the nakshatra. There's techniques where we will use the Lord. The whole Vimshottari Dasha is calculated based on that Lord. So it has its time and purpose. But we can't attach too much of that planet to the nakshatra because of this. Okay? Very important to understand. All right. So we're done that handout.